Elections are a cornerstone of Canadian democracy, but for that democracy to work, there has to be public trust. Unfortunately, the internet has allowed disinformation campaigns to flourish, and social media, well, that has created echo chambers where the disinformation is easily spread. It's for that reason the Samara Centre for Democracy is releasing a new online tool. It's called Verified, and it monitors discussion on digital spaces to help Canadians understand where the information they are ingesting actually comes from. Well, with more on Verified, we're now joined by Sabreena Delhon. She is the CEO of the Samara Centre for Democracy. Sabreena, always good to see you. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
So with Verified, you have decided to monitor some social media groups like Reddit, but also kind of made this decision not to monitor others like X. Given how prolific, X is in terms of volume, why that decision?
So the purpose of Verified is for us to monitor the online federal election conversation so that we can help Canadians understand how politics is playing out across digital spaces. Over the last few years, we've seen a big change in X, formerly Twitter, in terms of content moderation, proliferation of mis and disinformation, and we've also seen hostility from the platform towards social media researchers. We previously ran a project called Sambot, where we measured abusive tweets received by candidates in Canadian elections. And one of the reasons we picked the platform at that time was because it was very easy to get that type of data and do analysis with it. And that's just not the case anymore with X. And as a result, we've seen people move to other platforms. Another relevant factor here is how the online news landscape has changed in Canada. Reddit, Blue Sky, those are platforms where you can share news, and they're spaces for civic discussion and conversation that are highly relevant to Canadians.
And in terms of the discussion that's being had right now by Canadians, I take it from your report that Reddit seems to be the place where a plurality of Canadians are coming together.
That's right. So Reddit currently we've been monitoring r/Canada, which is Canada's largest subreddit. It has over 3.7 million users, and a lot of people read subreddits without being members on the platform, so the reach is even wider than that. And to give you a sense of the scale, r/Canada globally is 227th in terms of the subreddits in the world. Number 226 is r/Taylor Swift. So it's a pretty significant and robust space for civic conversation.
Yeah, I love Canadian democracies right up there with Taylor Swift. But listen, let's carry on, because you've already come out with 2 reports since launching Verified, and I guess the good news is that you've not detected any quote power abusers, but you have detected that a small number of people are behind a significant number of comments. Why is that of concern, or at the very least, why is that important for Canadians to know?
So often when we're on one digital platform or another, we feel as if what we're reading or viewing is reflective of public opinion, and that's not necessarily the case. So in our analysis of r/Canada in the early days leading up to the election, we found that it was a small number of users having an outsized influence on the discussion. There were 150 active commenters that were producing 14% of all comments. We also found that it was just 9 users that were producing 28% of posts. This is related to previous work we have done on X that shows that what we're seeing on these platforms isn't necessarily reflective of where the general public is at. We did find abusive or toxic content on the platform as well, but we noted that it wasn't concentrated amongst power abusers. So this is a term that's used to describe people who produce a high volume of posts that are highly abusive. So we didn't see a concentration of that bad stuff amongst a small group of people. It was a little more thinly spread. And this could be a credit to the way that Reddit handles content moderation. It's a community moderated platform, so it would be moderators or users that would have been deleting that content. This is a contrast to how other platforms do it. Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, YouTube, they are largely moderated by platform-owned automated systems.
Very interesting. Verify does also monitor, I guess, what's trending in the online election space. You're looking for what's real, what's misleading, where voters should be cautious. Are there any issues that are bubbling right now that Canadians need to be wary of, given that we are in the last 2 weeks of this campaign?
We know that this is a moment where voters are particularly engaged in Canadian politics, where they're feeling fearful about our sovereignty and our democratic future. And we want to ensure that Canadians feel equipped and enabled to navigate digital spaces. And so just being able to normalize conversations about how things can vary from one platform to another, that the way platforms approach content moderation, whether they are or are not investing in their trust and safety teams, this helps voters become discerning and better equipped to be active citizens. And it's really important to note here that this isn't just about, a few misinformed Canadians. Voters are contending with information manipulation from bad actors, and they are looking to sow divisive and polarization elements into our society that can make us feel as if our voice doesn't matter, our vote doesn't matter, that we can feel overwhelmed. And it's really vital that we be responsive to this moment right now and ensure that voters have clarity on good and reliable information, what they can expect from one platform to another, and to ensure that they feel enabled and supported to do their role as active citizens.
Well, as you say, information that is very helpful for Canadian democracy and Canadian voters. So listen, in the little time that we have left here, Sabreena, to get access to your information, to the kind of analysis that the Samara Centre does, where should Canadians go to?
Please visit samaracentre.ca/verified or find us on social platforms at the Samara Centre.
Okay. As I say, Sabreena, always appreciate the time and the conversation. Thank you for this.
Thank you.